everyone, my name is Jeanette Ramos and I'm the founder and CEO of It Takes a Village Housing. It Takes a Village Housing is a nonprofit organization geared towards helping mothers get the services that they need to raise their children. It's going to provide not only drug treatment services for our mothers, but mentors for our children, home economics for our mothers. This is going to be a one-stop shop that's going to provide for our families. Drugs and alcohol seem to be a big part of our society, and how we eradicate that will be based upon what we do for this population. We're always looking for donations. Help us out with those donations. Anything that you can give would be a great help. We're always looking for beds. We're looking for toiletries. We're looking for money. And anything that you can provide us would be of great help. So if you're willing to provide this population with a second chance at life, check out my website at ittakesavillage1.org, or you can email me at ittakesavillagmom@gmail.com. Here's to It Takes a Village Housing, and I look forward to meeting with each and every one of you.
You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Thank you for joining me, Dominique Rivera, your hostess, the Oracle of Apollo, and you are watching Divine Encounters. It is Wednesday night, and you guys know what that means. It's supernatural story time, and we're going to be bringing on our wonderful guest tonight. But before we get it all into all of that, all of the deliciousness of the stories of today, make sure you have your high quality H2O, because this is not a passive viewing experience, but one where I invite you in to shift your energy by the end of this broadcast, so that way you can leave feeling inspired and go forward creating your own divine experiences. And before we get into anything else, to health, wealth, and prosperity, cheers to everybody at home. Yay. Oh, that water tastes really good, actually. Delicious. So how's everybody? Let me know in the comments. And if you are watching this in the replay, make sure you are using hashtag replay, and letting you all know that my website is active, oracleofapollo.com. Come and check it out. That way you can join me for some sessions in energy work, or if you need a reading. And of course, we're doing workshops to connect you with your angels. Yay. And if you love all things inspirational, empowering, and pouring into yourself, as much as I do anyways, go ahead and check out my free meetup group, meetup.com/awakened Philadelphia. I host a variety of events here. You guys can join for free. So make sure you get that little screenshot right there. And I look forward to seeing you all there. All right, so you guys already know what's happening for the night. We have Mr. Kyle coming up here. He's going to be sharing his divine experiences tonight, and let's bring him on. So throw your hearts up. Even if you're on the replay, I want to see those candles. I want to see those hearts. Throw that love and light up into the feed, perpetually going on into infinity and beyond, because who knows, maybe in 20 years, somebody's going to unveil this and go, wow, that's a lot of love and light. And I want to be like, yeah, it was. Kyle, welcome on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
And so let everybody at home know a little bit about you and what time it is and where you're at right now.
Yeah, awesome. So I am in the most isolated city in the world, so Western Australia, Perth. The city's Perth. And a little bit about me: I'm a photographer. Been a photographer for 6 years. Have run my own business, and currently just finished writing my own transformative memoir, which is that book just there that's coming out. I'm going to change the cover, and yeah, through that experience, I've had quite a few ups and downs, and just looking to have more ups, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. And that's why we're here sharing today, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Well, I'm super happy to have you on the show. And I did not torment you by bringing you on early to explain the format of the show, but it's okay. So we're going to be jumping in right now to what we call What's Good. And basically, this is a one card tarot card for the collective, an inspiring message just to start to heighten the vibrational frequency of the show before we get into your story time. So to that, I say to everybody at home, pay attention. There might be a message in here for you somewhere. What's good? Alrighty, we have here the Seven of Emotions as the card for today. And the prompt of this card is collapsing a choice into reality. And that's a very interesting concept, collapsing a choice into reality. And here, this is what this is looking like right now. All things possible lie before her, and she is fantasizing about having them all. These swimming beauties are so alluring that they're hypnotizing her, and she's watching. She knows that. And knowing that today that she can select one opportunity. They look quite similar at first glance, these particular paths. But as first glance, her curiosity peaks and she decides to go in deeper. And now she realizes they all have a special nuance. She shines the light down into the water to help clarify her choices. Some are bejeweled and tempting, some bewitched and triumphant. Some hide danger, and some are unable to see in front of them. All of these beautiful little fins glimmer softly, vying for her attention as she is beginning to choose one for her future. Like her, you must decide which choice aligns with your truth and settle on it. Lean toward that which brings you grounded happiness and move from thinking into choosing and decide. Oh, that is like, and the name of the episode. Oh my God. I'm having a moment. Here's the poem, and then we're going to bring Kyle back on. 7 fins from the future swim out to greet me. Some are real, and some offer confusion, opportunities, choices. They flow out to meet me, and others sink. A fantastic illusion. Okay, Kyle, let's bring you back on.
Wow. That was
awesome. Like a
awesome.
mic drop at the end there with the ending it being and decide. And it's just like, that's the name of the episode.
That was so in alignment. I just think when you think about, greater consciousness, and you think about all the decisions we have in modern times and how much we have at our fingertips, and then how positive that is, on one end, and how confusing and distracting it can be on the other end. And then you're actually finding out what decisions do I need to make that align with why I'm here, is kind of like going through the water and trying to find those, try to find that clarity of what are those decisions. So yeah, that was powerful.
I love it. And these cards usually align with the story of the day. And I haven't heard your story. So you guys at home, just so you know, this is just what happens here on this show. Synchronicity. So we have an angel blessing for the collective claim, knowing that the angels always want to work with you. You just have to invite them in, basically claiming your angel blessings as they get there. So we have Angel Raphael blessing the collective with divinity, and Angel Celestina blessing the collective with friendship. And I claim that, even though Mercury in retrograde is saying, I am not shifting your second camera. I'm going to do whatever I want, even though that's not even what's in front of that camera at this moment. So we'll go with that. Let me grab them out of the box and show you what was actually in front of that camera. Angel Celestina blessing you guys with friendship, and Angel Raphael blessing you guys with divinity. I said what I said, y'all. All right.
Love it.
Kyle, have you ever had your cards read for you before?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, a
Oh.
few times. Yeah.
That's
so I've
really
got,
interesting. Do you
Yeah,
remember
so-
the first time? How old were you?
Ooh, good question. I was in my 20s. I was in my mid-20s. Yeah. I don't know if there was a time before that, but yeah, I think I was in my mid-20s. But I've got
Okay.
family and family friends that are, that have like certain card packs, and I do enjoy the experience.
Nice. Well, I'm
yeah.
glad you're going to have more of that as the show goes on. And you guys at home too, because it's for everybody. So we're going to jump into mindfulness moment. I'm still throwing you trial by fire right now, Kyle. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have a mindfulness moment, and then I promise we'll get into your story. And you guys at home, if you've never seen this show, this is all about you and just pouring into yourself for the next minute. And what I like to do is use the prompts from the particular card that we pulled, which was the 7 of emotions, I believe. Yes. And we're going to use these keywords basically as our intentions for breathing. And they're going to be daydreaming about the future, choices, manifesting, ranking options, the alignment of values, releasing illusions, fantasies, having many opportunities, and seeing which are real. So that is our intention for today. You're going to hear the bell, and Kyle and everybody at home watching, you're going to close your eyes until the 60-second timer is done. And don't worry, I'll let you know when that is. So get comfortable. Make sure that your spine is nice and aligned. We're going to breathe into these intentions for 1 minute. So let's begin. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. And we're just going to breathe into the idea that we have the ability to collapse all illusions within us and release what no longer serves us, to gently open our sights to any decisions that need to be made and actions that need to be taken. And we don't need the answers of the how in this moment. We just need to surrender that we have the energy, the ability, and the freedom to choose what that may look like. And just bring a sense of gratitude within you into your heart space here. And let go of anything that no longer serves you. And thank yourself for arriving and pouring back into yourself today. One last breath in. Let it go. And we're going to bring our left and our right palm to touch one another in prayer position in front of our heart space. And I bow to you all at home. And thank you so much for participating in this and not just elevating your own frequency, but now of everyone else that meets you. All right. Kyle, you can open your eyes now and welcome back. Hey.
Hey.
Did you ever think that you were going to get a nice little 1 minute nap on TV before?
I love that. I love that. Getting centered. I think that's awesome. And no, first time.
Nice. So I have a question for you. Before you started this 1 minute of breathing, where do you feel like you were at energetically? Like how you just woke up. So from 1 to 10, where were you at? 10 being this is the most amount of energy I could have possibly had prior to the experience. And 1, the least amount of energy, where were you?
Maybe like a 6 before, and then like around the 8 afterwards. Yeah.
So you jumped up like 2 points.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
And I like to show people at home this because it's like you could be anywhere and then you just need a little boost. And in 1 minute, by choice, you take control and then you pour into your own cup and recalibrate and align for whatever it is. You don't need a fancy yoga mat or all the bells and whistles. You just need 1 minute of focused breathing.
Yeah. You don't need to overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be too long. You
No.
can just quickly do it. Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely. So thanks for getting centered with me. And now that everybody's centered and elevated and inspired at home, we're going to be jumping into your supernatural story time. So right after this little clip, get ready because you guys are about to hear it. Let's go. Okay, we're here with Kyle. He's sharing his supernatural story time with us today. So, Kyle, you have till 7:40 to finish your story, and I'm not going to interrupt that much, but just start from in the beginning and then lead us into how you have been assisted in your life by things that are in the subtle realm.
Sure, sure. So in the beginning would be when I first came to Australia. So I was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. And when I was 2.5, I came over to Australia and I was welcomed into a lovely Australian family. And when I was about 2.5, I was walking upstairs to my grandmother's place and my new Australian grandmother. And she said she looked in my eyes and she could see this worry and this kind of fear and anxiety. You come to a new place and I was away from my South African family, so obviously wasn't enjoying where I was right in that moment. And she said she had this shooting feeling right through her body, this overwhelming feeling, this message from God that she was going to be important in my life. And turned out that she was very important. So later on in my life, at the age of 14, I had nowhere to go, and I went and stayed with my Australian grandmother and grandfather. So, and then I guess the story goes on. But she showed up. She was like an angel, and they were both like angels to me. So, yeah, she was very important. So whatever message she got, it was true.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So, lead us into you writing this book and these ups and these downs. So now you have your earth angel already starting off at the gate pretty much with you. When you were growing up, do you feel like there were forces or energies around you that you were more privy to or that you recognize were assisting you? So, how do you know you were being supported? How do you know it was something greater than yourself placing this person on your path and guiding you to what is now a book?
Yeah, so uh, but I've only been running last few years, but I always had this kind of, I had a wild sort of upbringing, and a lot of my friends around me, they kind of had very sort of consistent lives where I kind of had a lot of trauma and abuse, and I had a lot of like a wild sort of upbringing. So I always like I kept having this message. I didn't know what the message was. It was like, like keep going. Like you're gonna write your story one day. You're gonna help other people. You're gonna help other people. Like you might. And I just had these visions of talking on the TV or like interview or something. And I don't know where that came from, but it was quite interesting because it was just very repetitive. And then when I started playing rugby was like a big kind of saving grace for me because it was something I could focus on at such a moment of turmoil in my teenage years when things could go either way, and I could focus on rugby. And then I kind of had that same sort of thing, like, oh, through rugby, you're going to inspire younger kids and different sort of things like that. So it was always very close to giving back. Yeah, and so that was probably one of the biggest guidance. And then obviously my grandparents, because they ended up being my parents, they ended up raising me,
Mm.
and they were I guess my guardians when I went in to have like a major operation. They were the two people that took me in, and I didn't allow anyone else around me.
What kind of
No one else was
operation
around.
did you have? And how old were you?
So I had an operation when I was 20, and I had a heart operation, open heart
Oh.
surgery. So what happened was all that emotional turmoil and trauma and build up, um, all the way up until I was 18 had kind of manifested internally. And I had my grandmother who was always there for me and wanting me to kind of release it. But I chose not to. And then 2 months
Mm.
after I finished school, I had a 3 centimeter bug uh, eating a hole into my heart. And then I got put into
How
an
do you
induced.
find out that there's something eating you?
Well, well,
And it's interesting because like just that phrase, something eating you, like it's although it's their words, it was like physically literally happening to you and your
yeah.
emotional state in the physical state as well.
Yep. And it's only taken me, until really now, last few years, to realize how much, yeah, how much I guess we create, how much of that environment, or like, the environment created, the emotional environment created, because of the impact. But the emotional impact and me not finding valves to release that. So, yeah, so how they found it was, I had an amazing Chinese doctor in my local area in where my family were, and he'd seen me years earlier, and he gave me this book titled Hope,
Yeah.
and it had all these landscapes, different sort of things. So he knew at the age of 14 like what I was going through, and he was more than just a doctor. He was something special, and he just noticed these red dots on the tips of my fingers, and I went to see him when I was really, really sick because I went to another doctor. She said, "You've got gastro, have these tablets," vomited the tablets up. Anyone I saw just couldn't get through. And then this doctor saw these red tips, and he said that means you've got an infection on one of your heart valves. And so I went to hospital. They did all the measurements, and then I was like waiting down the bottom, and I said I couldn't go to the toilet, and one of the nurses rushed over, came over, and we told them I couldn't go to the toilet, and she looked at my paperwork. She said, "You're supposed to go straight through to ICU. The reason you can't go to the toilet is your organs are shutting down, your body's shutting down." So I got rushed through to the ICU. They put me in induced coma. They told my family that I wouldn't make it through the night,
Wow.
and that was pretty intense. Spoiler alert, I did make it through the night. I didn't make it through, if you're wondering. No, just checking. But yeah, so and then I woke up, had all these pipes, all these different sort of things in me. And then my family called my stepfather in Ireland over. And my stepfather, he's a chiropractor, but he also had a lot of knowledge of kinesiology and, very like conscious human. So he came over and he told me what was going on. He said, "You got a 3-centimeter bug eating into your heart, and here's all the information if you want to go have surgery." They cut a major part of your organ out, put a metal attachments on.
Wow.
This is how your life's affected. And then he said, "There's this other option, and it's called the alkaline diet." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, the alkaline diet, basically what we would do, we'd fast. We'd kind of change the ecosystem of your body. The bug would no longer be sustained, and the bug would die out. That's the theory of it." I asked him, "Has this ever worked with anyone? Do you believe it could work?" And then eventually, I just trusted like my stepfather, because he did raise me when I was a lot younger. I trusted my stepfather. I said, "Look, I trust you. Let's give this thing a go." And then little did I know, he had in his bag a little beetroot juice, and he handed it over. I had a sip, and I regretted my decision instantly. I was like, "I can't do this," but I stuck to it. I did a juice fast. I had salad every single day. I had my 19th birthday in hospital. I had a tiny little slither of watermelon. So it was very intense. I had vitamins. He got me to do visualizations, all this stuff that was totally out of my comfort zone, meditations, everything. And then at the 3-week mark, the 3-centimeter bug was gone. And so we healed the heart naturally. And the reason for the surgery was the heart had eaten part of the valve. So my heart was leaking a lot of blood. So I had to get that repaired. And the problem was it was always only a high percentage of it getting replaced. So having certain metal attachments and then going back and forth with a new cardiologist over the course of a year and trying to heal my body the best way I could. Towards the end of the year, he said there's a 70% chance that we could do a repair. And then that's when I went in and had the open heart surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of that came from being open to something different.
Yeah.
Going to see the Chinese doctor, not just going, "Okay, everybody says I'm okay," or, they're overlooking it. It sounds like they were. Why? Because why do you feel like they were overlooking it? Or why do you feel like Western medicine didn't catch it as fast?
Maybe maybe it's the perception. Maybe it's like, young sort of kid, looks pretty healthy. He's just been, vomiting and diarrhea and, like it's just something gastro related, and that's one of the things when people like, when I do share that I've got a heart condition, people go, "What?" Because young, healthy looking, they just don't see it. They don't put the dots together. So I think they're looking at the surface or the material where, like my father was thinking, okay, this juice fast, like we got to get into the internal. This is what we'll need to do. You'll have to visualize. This is where the valves are. So I was learning all about my internal being. So
Wow. And it's so
diving.
interesting that you're mentioning all of this juice fast, because I was just talking yesterday. I said, Friday, I need to go on a juice fast. And I haven't done
Awesome.
one in years. But I was like, Friday, I need to start a juice fast. And I feel like you're like affirming what I know already that I should be doing Friday, which is a juice fast.
Go for it.
So after this experience, what do you feel like your biggest takeaway was? What was the lesson in the experience? What was the universe? What did you learn? What was the message?
Great question. I think probably the greatest experience that I learned, and one thing that still serves me today, in the last few years of chaos, disruption, and challenges, I think that what that experience did for me is it got me to literally, the physical element of cutting into you and going deep and excavating and extracting, the most powerful organ in your body. Spiritually, it also allowed me to do that, extract that humanity, extract my heart and soul and bring that forward in my life, rather than having that as something that I just kind of contend with a little bit in the privacy. It got me to bring that forward. So, a lot of people and a lot of my friends told me that I seem to deal well in chaos. But she thinks because of my childhood trauma that my what is it? She said my nervous system must be prepped for chaos and be like attuned for chaos. So must thrive in chaos, and that might be true. But also, I think just me bringing my heart and soul to the forefront in my life, that's the most important thing. The authenticity, the alignment of my soul. What am I doing for my soul now? Because I have a belief that my soul continues on, and they're the most important decisions. Yes, there's physical things and material things and emotional things that affect me and upset me, but the most important thing is always that spiritual being within me. And so having that as like a center point or a point of focus, I think happened through this whole experience. I don't think I would have matured as much as I did. I can see I would have still stuck around the same friends. My cardiologist at the time said, "Look, Carl, I just want to let you know you're not going to be around your same group of friends." And I couldn't understand him. He says, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're ahead of them now." I said, "What do you mean? They're studying to be this and that. They're doing great things. Or they're really intelligent. He said, "No, but your experience, your life experience is ahead, and you're just not going to be able to relate and connect." And he was right. It was very hard to,
Wow, I didn't even mean to ring that bell, but I guess there was some truth in there because the bell had to ring itself.
I love it.
I was just trying to put the water down. Your cardiologist was exceptionally wise.
Yeah. He did help me with kind of the interpersonal relationship as well, which I think that your heart has such a big part to play. But I think I just couldn't connect with other people because through the experience, probably one of the big lessons was also the gravity of your life, or the grandeur of what your life could be and what you can create and how you can create an amazing life. Because now you become really aware of every single freaking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like I joke often because I had a condition as well, and I've been about 9 months now able-bodied, and I'm like, this is a refurbished body. You guys, there's a new appreciation for this body now. So
Yep.
I absolutely understand that sentiment.
You know how they say there's the connection of so we think the brain's here, but really the brain's like out here, and the electricity and the signals that we have in our body, like it's expands. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, like your heart rate expands beyond you. I think
Sure.
Through that experience you kind of get aware that you are like this electricity being, and you you can lift your energy and move your energy and move your being, and you're kind of, you escape the kind of cocoon of the body, in a way. So yeah, that's, I guess, another thing that I learned.
Now that you've gone through these things and you've matured, how are you being in service to others now? Because you did mention it with the rugby, and it was kind of like, well, I'm almost in service to others. I mean, you were, because you were inspiring other people, but I feel like that was alluding to, you feel like you're doing that actively now. So what does that look like in your world?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, the rugby career it didn't last because after the whole heart thing, I couldn't play anymore. Um, and it's so interesting we talk about service because it was such a strong vision that when I was in hospital, I would like wake up in hot sweats and have these dreams that I was playing and I was there and I was, like inspiring and all those sorts of things. But then I wake up and then I'd be in the hospital, I'd be like, wow, I'm so far from this vision. But that vision was so important just to get me to start believing and start getting out of my current my current world. And so for me now, the book and everything, me bringing my story forth, bringing myself forth, what I can, what's within me that I can bring forward, my spiritual being, my belief, and for years it's been photography. I've been extracting the heart and soul in people in the photograph. So for me, I don't just take snaps and in front of a white wall with a bit of a splash of light and you're good to go. Like I like talk to the person, I sit with them. Eventually, after a while, they let down those guards and they go deep within themselves. And I believe there's a split second when you can capture their soul. And so I've always been extracting the heart and soul through photography. And then now I'm doing it with Decide Your Destiny in the book and like many great things and collaborating things to come.
Nice. So do you want to share anything about your book since we're on the topic of book?
Yeah, for sure. So the book will be out on the 31st of this month. And yeah, it goes into some of the story that I shared with you earlier. And then it kind of just, it's about extracting that kind of heart and soul and that humanity within you. So it is really a provocative sort of book, or it's, I don't know. It's not necessarily just a reconfirming or a comforting book. It's really like trying to dive deep into, like what are you doing with every single heartbeat of your life? What can you do? What's your capacity? Where can you kind of stretch yourself and expand? And it's very hard. Like I still through the surgeries and different sort of things, I've had different things that I've had to different devices and different sort of things. And, every now and then I'll get like different pains in my chest and different sort of things. And it's so interesting. You just contract, physically, spiritually, you go straight into that sort of contraction, that sort of protection, that sort of fetal, protection. It's very hard to, I understand for a lot of people, it is very hard to kind of expand yourself and go the opposite way.
So what is something that you can leave viewers at home with? Maybe like a tip of how they can expand themselves in that way.
100%. So really start learning, understanding, and you're in great company with Dominic. You're in great company with diving into the spirit, diving into the soul, because I think the more you can dive into that, and it's not that you disregard or you discount the physical, because that's still important, but you're actually tapping into something within you that has a lot of power and a lot of strength and a lot of ability, and once you dive deeper into that soul, into what's within you, you realize that you're much more than, just your physical matter. And that's where, like you said, the superpowers can come from.
Yeah. Do you have any book recommendations besides your own book? Because we already know about that, but do you have any book recommendations for people at home who want to like look upon this topic or want to learn more about it?
Yeah, another great question. So I'm trying to think of book, but ones that I've read recently, Celestine Prophecy, was a great book. Very visual. I found reading that book was a very visual experience and really discusses energy, so I guess, rather than going straight into the soul and the spirit, you can go through energy. People can get their head around energy or really start to understand energy. And so Celestine Prophecy really goes through that element. And then you've obviously got the 10th Insight. You've got, there's a series of 4 books in that series.
Cool. And as you're talking about the Celestine Prophecy, I'm feeling energy coming in. As you're saying, energy, I started feeling it come in. I don't know if you did, but I did.
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting. You did?
Yep. And
That's fun.
What stone is that on your necklace?
Oh, so I have a citrine here, and I got this when I went to Brazil to visit the John of God. He was like this really very important healer there.
Yeah.
He got a lot of smack last year for some things that he shouldn't have done. But I went. It was a good experience for me. Not that everybody had a good experience, but for me it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it's my medicine.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I have a question for you that is not a question here. So I have a question for today, and this is a hard question. So it's going to make you think. And this is not just for Kyle, but for everybody at home. So tune in because you're going to learn something about yourself if you play full out. And that's what this show is about. It's about introducing you to some topics and interesting questions to ask yourself, to expand, maybe push through those barriers a little bit. And here we go. Here's the question of the day. Oh, yay, the camera works. Right here is the question for Kyle. And the question is, why am I doing the things I'm doing right now? Why am I doing the things I'm doing right now? That's your question, Kyle. For you, about you, just to clarify.
Okay, beautiful. I'm doing the question. I'm doing the things that I'm doing right now because I was sent here to do them. That would be my answer to
That
that.
is that's your answer. Just little blurb. I would say here to do things.
You want some more? Yeah. I would say, why am I doing the things I'm doing
What
right
is
now?
what is the fire behind it, Kyle? Tell me the fire. What is stoking that hearth inside of you of passion and of purpose? You know, that's really what this is asking.
Yeah, look, the fire behind it is all those people, all those family members that believed in me, that have passed away, that still believe in me. All those people that believe that I've got something to offer. It's in myself that my younger self, all through those difficult times and those ups and those downs, that believed in me. And it's about, I guess, everything that I've been through that believed in me, that I could actually bring some value, bring some positivity, extract some humanity on this planet at this time. And that's really, that's, it's about, all right, the time is now. And, you put it in, you put the work in, or you've gone through the kind of spiritual evolution, and you'll continue. There's never an end point. You're going to continue to arrive at different destinations. But it's about actually going, okay, now it's time to get out there and do the work like you are, which is super inspiring.
Yes. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I think it's interesting because the time is now, as the time is now for everybody. And, there's no special red carpet that's going to come out. It's just choice. And I feel like everything in today's conversation we had was about leading back to decision-making and choosing, because you can be afraid. And if you move through it, that's what we call courage. Don't let fear stop you from doing something that ultimately is going to be for your greatest and highest good. And for people who are trying to live authentically to themselves in that way, Kyle, what guidance or advice or nuggets of wisdom could you impart on them?
Yeah, so as you're talking about courage, I think it's important to like pat yourself on the back as you're going along, to kind of, even if you're not at the end point, or even if you're not there, just yet, and you're putting in the work, you've got the sweat on your brow, and just pat yourself on the back and go, hey, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. And checking in, daily with yourself, checking with your daily, like saying that I'm going for it, because we can get so caught up, especially in today's day, where we've got the access to media or different information where we can just see the end point. But we don't see all those little, kind of stepping stones along the way. So I think just checking in with yourself as often as you can, and checking in with your journey, and where am I on path here? And every time you do get pushed off path, just respecting yourself and going, hey, that's a part of it. I'm getting pushed off. This is a highly distracting world, but let me try and align again. And,
yeah, I feel like when we get pushed off our path, it's kind of like we're balancing on this ninja warrior type obstacle course that everybody's just running through with no clue, and then something comes in and wham. And all you can do is, the timer's still going, is get back up, get back on the course and try. You know, you
Yeah.
still have you have chances. So it's
Yeah.
important to recognize that this is just about recalibration and that there is no failure. Only when you quit is when something, we're defeated by something, when you stop doing, when you stop creating. Otherwise, you are in the process of succeeding. That's how there is, there's nothing in between. If
Yeah.
you haven't succeeded yet, it's because you are in the process of succeeding, because there is
Damn
no
right.
failure. We're going to just get rid of that altogether. We're still actively trying. And for the people at home trying to wonder what their why is, how do I find out my why? Why am I doing something? Kyle.
So I would probably say, when I was talking about the photography aspect and taking photographs, and then over an hour, just kind of having a chat with the person, they would go deep within themselves and reveal their soul. That was their time. So I would say you got to kind of find some of your time to carve away. Sit with yourself. Like, don't kind of go out into the world or ask all these different questions. First, sit with yourself. Write about your story. Figure out what your story is. What are some of the decisions that you've made? What are some of the things that have occurred in your life? What are some of the things that keep reoccurring and keep showing up? Because there's definitely signs and signals there. So, I really say spend some time with yourself, respecting yourself enough to go, hey, I deserve this time to kind of recalibrate and dive deep into myself. And then from that, your why will kind of come out a little bit more. And if that's difficult, you could always get someone you really trust close to you to ask you questions. I do have this kind of process where I kind of ask, like, why, and then why again and why again. And if you're in the right headspace and you're ready, you can just keep diving deep into that why, because so much of the first reasons why will be kind of just fluff, and then you dive deeper.
Superficial.
Yeah, and then you get to that core why, and you're like, and that core why will hit you, and you're like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know that was in there.
It's so true. That is so true. If anybody here wants to work with you, Kyle, or if they want to reach out to you, where can they do that, please?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me probably most active on YouTube at the moment, Kyle Spreedies, but you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the website is DecideYourDestiny book.com, and that's going to be where the book is going to come out. And and you can always reach out to me. I'm building a community through that website. So many awesome things to come.
Awesome. I like your last name, and I like how it's pronounced. And when I read it as Spy Rides.
Yep.
And I was like, last week I was downtown and I saw a restaurant and it was called American Mortals. And I thought it was funny because if I was an immortal vampire, I would have a place called American Mortals and then hide there. Nobody would ever be the wiser because on the door it says mortals. No one's going to even assume that I'm an immortal. So I'm looking at your last name, right? And I'm like, is he telling me he's a spy? This is
a spiritual spy.
Is he telling me that right now without saying it? Is it like incognito? Like nobody has to know.
Yeah. Hiding in plain sight. Yep. No, a lot of people say spy rides.
Spy rides.
I got Spider-Man rides once. Spider-Man rides. I don't know. It gets creative, but it's all cool.
Yeah, I like it though. I like it. So what do you see for yourself in the future? Where is Kyle in 5 years? What does that look like with the building blocks and all this information that you have as the you that is now?
Yeah. So for seeing that in the future, it would be bringing all that information forth and putting it into systems and course, programs and different sort of things so that people can implement a lot of that heart and soul, implement a lot of extracting their core elements, implement a lot of the things that I have the information from. So, it's going to be me, I guess, I think, we're very digital today. So it's going to be me reaching out to community digital, but definitely in person, love in person as well. But just building this kind of community and this movement towards people all around the world, deciding their destiny, bringing more authority back into their lives, and creating a great story for themselves.
And what about those people who are feeling apprehensive to dipping their toe into this world, that all of this is fluff and imagination and what are we even talking about here kind of people. What do you have
Yeah.
for someone who's at least interested enough where the door is unlocked and a little bit of light is shining through and they're curious?
Well, I guess what I'd say is something my stepfather said to me a while ago, and he said, um, "We're all experiencing the same thing, but each of us choose how we experience it." And I think if you want to look at it in a different way and go, "Okay, am I happy with the experiences I'm having? Am I happy with there being a roof on life or a limit to my life experience? Am I happy with what I've been told or indoctrinated or guided as, hey, this little bit of stuff is life, and all that out there, that's not for you. Am I happy? Am I happy with that? And have I been sold the script? I think that's there's some of the questions that you'd have to think. If if it is fluff, all that sort of stuff. Hey, what about trying to have different experience and elevated experience? So
Yeah.
choose your experience, change your experience. Are you happy with the same sort of feedback loop, or are you wanting to evolve?
That's perfectly said. Thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. Kyle, it has been an honor to have you, and I'm so grateful for your stories today. I'm going to pop you in the back room, but you still don't have a hall pass to leave yet, so hang out. We're going to do the midweek collective energy check-in where we do a reading for the collective. And the fun thing is, these are usually in alignment with whatever the story is for today. So I'm sure it's just going to enhance everything that you talked about and shared with us today. So let's do the check-in, and then we're going to bring Kyle back on for his final thoughts after the segment. Okay, Kyle, go get some aloe water, and we'll see you in a few moments. All right, let's go into the midweek collective energy check-in. This is the reading for the collective. Oh, okay. I guess Mercury retrograde. We just don't feel like having a secondary camera today. What's up? All right, we'll use this camera that I have next to me until that one decides to work. We're going to start off nice and strong here, and we have the wheel, Archangel Michael, a time of positive change, a situation suddenly moving forward, and fortune is on your side. So the wheel represents a time where the seasons are going, there's cycles or patterns. So there is a pattern being completed here with the wheel, and we are going from an ending into a beginning with the number 10. The number 10 energy is about ending of cycles. So a new cycle is beginning for many of us here this week, and let's see what this cycle is about. And I'm saying cycle, not psycho, and just in case, because that sounds kind of similar. I don't know why this camera's not picking up the card. The card is literally in front of it. It's super odd. Mercury retrograde. Anyways, which, look at this. Mary Magdalene. We have the Mary Magdalene card. Unconditional love. This is basically everything we were talking about today. Expanding that heart space. So we're leaving a pattern of non-expansion, coming into this pattern of expansion. And this card says, love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearance may be. And if RuPaul was here, he would say, love yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, how you expect anybody else to love you, honey? So just remember that. Not words of Mary Magdalene, but of RuPaul. Love yourself. Coming into the third card here, we have Demeter, harvest. So we are stepping out and we see that her seasons are changing behind her. She is all things spring, letting us know that there's a time for harvest here. So this ending that we're concluding is because we're putting in new seeds of love within our spaces. And I really like this card. As they will yield with TLC, they will have a nice yield. So it's important to make sure that you're still nurturing your needs. Oh, look at this. Speaking of needs, letting go. Let go of ego is the card here. Are you holding on to it like Kyle said? An old belief, thinking maybe something's fluff. Do you want an expanded experience? There's something here, old programming, that is limiting that expanded experience of unconditional love and limiting your ability to reach your harvest. So it's important to recognize that with the wheel energy, with these completions, this is still a choice. You have to choose to let go of something in order for something new to come in order for something worthwhile to come in. And we have this card, did I pick it from the same deck? Let me just double check. I didn't double. Yes, I did. Okay. Then we have the spider card. That is so funny. That's not a spider because that's definitely a crab. Show your emotions and regenerate love. So the crab in the zodiac sign is connected to the moon energy and is thought to be a very loving sign. This crab energy is a maternal sign. And from the whole zodiac sign, crab is the one that wants to build home the most, more than any other sign. Okay. So it's saying regenerate love. Again, we're talking about heart expansion in this episode here. So it's important that we're pouring back into ourselves like we did today. We did a 1-minute breathing exercise. You can literally take 1 minute out of your day and give back to yourself and recalibrate, because any love that you put back into yourself is an investment. Every love token you place inside of your Bitcoin tank is a love investment that is going to yield later on. Okay. So allow yourself to invest in yourself. I know I'm using some weird analogies. That's okay. You guys get it. And then we have Winter Wolf. Take care of your needs. I did not pre-choose these cards. Universe is saying, if you're out of calibration, you're out of alignment, you're doing too much, you're giving out of obligation, guilt, shame, programming, whatever it is, the story, it is time to switch that story up, come back to center and realize, wait a minute, am I living the highest potential to my personal experience? Am I allowing my soul's personality to be expressed in truth and in calm and in clarity and in peace and in ease? And if it isn't, you need to take care of more what you need, more of your needs. Okay. If this is creating boundaries, if this is stepping out of toxic situations, if this is just recognizing your value, whatever this looks like in the frame of your world at this moment, it is asking you to take charge, because you're only going to receive back into your well what you put into your well. Okay. Because you are creating a polarity within yourself with your thoughts and your emotions. And those subtle energies, they reverberate into the quantum field, which is then kind of like an ocean tide that comes right back to you. So whatever you're putting out, you're putting back in. And if you put love in, you're going to start to see how people treat you lovingly. And if you guys have watched me for some time, you've heard me talk about when I was in my when I just became an adult, that you wouldn't want to be in the same room with me. You wouldn't even want to be paid to be in the same room with me. And now I feel like everywhere I walk into, I'm always greeted in love. Everywhere I walk into, I feel like I am immediately loved by everyone. And that's my experience now. So if you need to shift that perspective in yourself so that you can also be greeted in love, give yourself more time to love yourself. Take yourself out on a date. When's the last time you just went, hey girl, how you feeling? And if you don't know the answer to that question, it is time. Like in Lion King, it is time. Okay. All right. Final outcome card we have here. The Two of Pentacles. This is oh, wait, my camera's still not doing anything that it should be. Two of Pentacles, you're balancing. It's a balancing act, okay? Prioritizing the things that need to be prioritized and then balance that with your spirituality. So practicality and spirituality need to be balanced here. Not one is greater than the other, because what we think is if I do more than what you're really, that I can ascertain what I want at a faster rate, but really you're manipulating an outcome instead of calibrating. So it's kind of like doing the work after. It's like doing double work. Don't do double work. Calibrate, and then that workload will be at ease and at flow. And when you receive it, it will be exactly what it needs to be. All right. Last thing here are the angel blessings. Angel Faith, blessing the collective with beauty. Angel Faith is the angel of faith and the freedom it brings. And Angel Gabriel, blessing the collective with healing. I love this. Beautiful. Making sure you're claiming your angel blessings in that comment section below, because the angels always want to work with you, but they respect your free will. All right. And that is your midweek collective energy check-in. Let's go ahead and bring Kyle back on and see what his thoughts are. Okay, Kyle, how are you feeling about this midweek check-in?
Good. I think it's just so much of what you've been sharing is in alignment with, I guess, the discussion. Respecting yourself, being kind, and then claiming your space, claiming your energy, and when you fall in alignment with that, like you said, you become a new person, people become attracted to you, and you attract your reality, you attract the destiny that you want to live forth.
Absolutely. Calibration, more energy is coming in as I say that. Instead of location, calibration.
I love that.
Be your own real estate agent for your energy real estate field. I don't know. We're gonna have to buy our
Yeah,
own
I
real
like
estate
that.
area. So, Kyle, any final thoughts? Any messages you want to drop off to the collective before I close this feed out?
Yeah, I guess the final thing would probably be, really tune in, to what you're creating here, the community that you're creating. It's so important. My grandparents, I asked them, what's, I guess, one of the biggest differences from in today's day from when they grew up, and then also I asked them, what's my grandfather in his 90s. I said, what kind of got you to your 90s, living healthy, happy, energetic, and I thought he was going to say finishing the bowl of salad, because he always finished the bowl of salad, or kayaking up until 70s, so I thought, okay, that makes sense. But then he said to me, was being social. He said, I wasn't at home biting my nails. I was out there. We're out there in the community. We were looking after other people's kids. Whatever we were doing, we were interacting and engaging. And so I think that's such an important reminder in today's world, because it's so easy to just be behind hey Robert, how's it going? It's so easy to just be behind the computer, behind the device.
Sure.
You don't have to be social. There's so many excuses and elements, like you don't have to be social. So I would say get out and be social. Like connect with people. If you're going through things, the problems that we go through and face in life, it's probably about a handful of problems, and they're all different to different people, but they all fit under a similar category. And so if we can connect, collaborate, help each other, then we can help raise, a rising tide rises all boats, sort of thing. So so I'd say get out there, connect, and we can all help each other out.
I like that. Rising tides rises all the boats.
Exactly.
I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put that right in there long term.
Yep.
Boy, it's been a pleasure and an honor. So let's wrap up this episode and reflect on what I may have learned. But of course, we're going to do that con mucho amor. Do you or someone you know experience something supernatural that has left a positive impact on yourself or the lives of others? Want to share your story on our show? Please email Divine Encounters at e360tv.com, and together, let's create divine experiences. And now, the Oracle's final thoughts con mucho amor. Okay, I think I learned today, stop, collaborate, and listen. Tap into your heart space. It's a brand new invention. And allow yourself to expand through your emotions, not through your logic, not through theories, not through the phone, not through computers or books, but through experience. Get out there, be a part of something that is greater than yourself. You might just surprise yourself. I hope you all go forward today, filled up, poured in, alive, inspired, wanting to tackle more, experience more, and see more, because these episodes are all for you guys. Thank you for showing up for yourself, and everyone for showing up for one another in this unity and this beautiful place that we call Divine Encounters. May you all go forward in love, light, and wisdom to know thyself, love thyself, and remember the divine always has your back. Ciao.
Everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels well most, just hold on. Just hold on.